Deep within the cozy fridge of Eden's Hollow, there lived a humble sourdough starter named Frodough Baggins. Frodough was no ordinary jar of a blobby substance, for he was gluten-free, fermented, and full of life. He spent most days sitting alongside a jar of dramatic jam to his left and a judgmental pickle jar to his right. Venturing out wasn't really Frodough's thing. He was a homebody, and Jam was quite extroverted, often going out every morning for breakfast. Pickle went out sometimes, but due to his sour attitude, didn't last long beyond sandwiches. They were mean and often called Frodough lazy. They thought that all he did was stay in the fridge, forgotten and unwanted. What they didn't realize was that Frodough's life was peaceful. He was lovingly fed once a week by his caretaker named Sage. He liked her. She raised him from the beginning and never gave up on him. Frodough's life, however, wasn't always peaceful and bubbling with optimism. He came into this world from practically nothing. Being born without gluten meant he had to work harder to rise from his circumstances. Sage fed and took care of him every day, learning everything there was to know about growing a little starter like him. There was never a feeding, discard, or stir missed. Some days were tough for Frodough, this whole growing in a jar ordeal. He would climb higher every day, but not as high as he needed to, until one day, after 6 days of bubbles, hooch, and tears, Frodough grew up and reached the top of his jar. He could finally see beyond it as he looked out onto the wide horizon of Eden's Hollow. It was time for him to be more than a starter, but now a finisher. It was time to finally become bread. 2 loaves later, Frodough is now the heart of every baked item in Eden's Hollow. He has purpose, knowing that every loaf, cake, and muffin must be created with his help. What a life! To live with purpose, peace, and the courage to always rise to the occasion. Thank you again so much for joining us today here on our channel. We do not take that for granted. We are ever so grateful. If this video inspired you today with either lifestyle, sustainable, or off-grid living, please feel free to subscribe here on our channel, share with a friend, or like at the bottom. Thanks so much for stopping by, and hope you and your loved ones have an amazing day.